What's going on, everybody? Happy Saturday. This weekend edition of the Digi Dreaming Off the Ground podcast will be about the San Francisco 49ers preseason and what to expect, right? So obviously the dominating storyline is where is Jimmy going to land, if he's going to be on the roster post-training camp. My prediction is, obviously Jimmy and his agents trying to work out a deal, like I said in my last episode, is going to be kind of difficult unless some team really, makes a push to absorb the $27 million. And, even then, we haven't seen too many teams feign their interest or show any kind of remote interest, right, in a Jimmy Garoppolo. Obviously, Seattle was the last team who seemed like a serious contender for Jimmy. And essentially, with that, it's going to be difficult for, any team at this point, with training camp, right now which has basically started, to basically, say, okay, yeah, we're ready to, pick up a quarterback. So, at the end of the day, I think Jimmy will probably be on the roster post, in the practical sense, still be on the roster post training camp. Maybe, he's going to be insurance policy for the Niners. Obviously, many Niners have said that, Trey is a quarterback. That's why they've also granted Jimmy permission to seek a trade. So, but the question is really who's going to pick him up. So it's yet to be seen. I could be wrong, but judging by the way things are going right now, I don't really see anywhere that Jimmy will land, practically or realistically. Okay, next up, let's talk about Madden. Trent Williams, 99 Madden rating. Obviously, Trent does it all. If you guys watch any film from last year, you can see clearly how Trent moves like a fullback. Robert Griffin throws on Get Up on ESPN a few days ago. He talked about Trent's resourcefulness when they played together with the Washington Redskins. And Trent's obviously one of those guys who can basically make any team better because of the fact that 71 can go and he can clear out anyone from him. He can run. He can run. He can clear. He can clear the passing lane. He can clear the running. He can clear the A gap, the B gap. He can clear any type of lane, for any type of running back, as well as, his pocket presence or his pocket protection to enable the quarterback's time in the pocket, is pretty remarkable, as we saw last year, as we've seen throughout his entire career. Kudos to Trent. Looking forward to him having another great season. Now let's talk about the secondary. Darqueze Dennard is looking like the favorite to start in the secondary. Obviously, I'm looking forward to seeing, how. With Dennard, played well, right? Obviously, Mosley, Tart, all these other kind of names, right? There's a lot of good things coming out, on the secondary side of the ball. Obviously, the most important thing to remember is that the front four, Bosa, Eric Armstead, they pretty much set the tone for the Niners. And obviously, the backing core, meaning Drake Greenlaw, Fred Warner, who are Thomas Davis's, top linebacking duo in the NFL. Basically are there to kind of reinforce the troops up front. So, the secondary, they shouldn't have to do too much, except obviously not give up big passing plays, right? So ultimately, the Niners, from the defense side of the ball, there's not too many concerns about the secondary. Outside of that, looking forward to that. Next up, Deebo Samuel, right? If Deebo Samuel's contract extension gets resolved this week or before training camp or at the end of the preseason, I will be amazed, because at the way things have been kind of going, it doesn't look like Deebo is going to get a contract extension. They're not going to trade him. John Lynch has been on record to say that he'd be crazy to trade Deebo Samuel, brain dead. He's not going to trade Deebo, but obviously an extension needs to be hammered out. Maybe they'll hammer it out before the training camp. Maybe at the end of training camp, we'll see how it all shapes out. As an Irish fan, I'm looking forward to seeing, hopefully Deebo coming back and. Well, he will be coming back, but hopefully, long-term, something long-term than Deebo. Preseason, right? So let's see. Obviously, the first preseason game will be in less than 3 weeks from Friday against the Green Bay Packers at Levi's. I'm looking to see if Trey will be able to start. There's an article today that says Trey may or may not start in that preseason game. I hope Trey can start. I hope that he can show us what he can do. Preseason is a great kind of litmus test for any incoming QB. We saw some sample sizes last year, right, with Trey. Obviously the 2 games he played or started, right, but ultimately we still need to see a little bit more, So hopefully he'll start the majority of the snaps preseason to get in rhythm, and then when the season starts, he'll be ready. So week 1 at Chicago, obviously one of the boys, Brian Arline's going to be at that game, so looking forward to that game too. Obviously, I live in Chicago for a few years, played for the Falcons, love that city, so. Hopefully, the Niners can go out and show out, against Justin Fields and the Bears. That's what we're feeling. And pretty much, yeah. I think, from the season side, that's pretty much it for now. Obviously, actually, no, I'm sorry. That's not it for now. But the running back side of the ball, or the running back side, right? JaMychal Hasty, Trey Sermon. Trey Sermon, obviously, is trying to get out of the Shanahan doghouse right now. There's an article today literally about that. You can go read it, I believe, on Niner Central or Niner Noise. Basically, what's going on is Trey Sermon had a lackluster season last year with just 167 rushing yards. And so he's going to have to prove himself, within, during this training camp as well as the preseason before the regular season starts. So preseason might be a good opportunity for Trey, maybe even JaMychal Hasty, right? These guys to really kind of get their legs wet and kind of, again, reps are everything. So let's see what happens in the preseason. If Trey Sermon and JaMychal Hasty can make something happen. Essentially, I think ultimately the Niners are in a good spot. I think, from the running back side of the ball, obviously Debo being used as a wide back. He's stated that he doesn't like being a wide back, but I mean, I'm looking forward to, seeing how this new running back tandem will perform. Obviously, Raheem Mostert, in my opinion, was the last kind of good. Obviously, Juice coming out of the fullback, he can do everything, but I mean, it's good to have, an every down back, outside of your bruising fullback. So hopefully JaMychal Hasty, hopefully Trey Sermon, they come out and have great seasons, great preseasons, and then obviously great seasons to follow up those preseasons. So we'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to seeing how the Niners kind of bounce back from last year. Obviously we're on the cusp of making an 8 Super Bowl appearance. If we can, do well enough in the preseason, do well enough, the regular season, obviously, right, in the stacked NFC West against teams like the Rams. Speaking of which, they're bling bling. They just kind of unveiled their rings. I mean, those rings are just so baller, right? Hoping Niners can, get back to glory. But again, a lot is yet to be seen with Trey. But again, I mean, Niners don't really rely too much on the quarterback play to get us to the next level. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. Hopefully we'll get there. And anyways, that's it for this segment, this episode. Thank you all for tuning in. Let's go Niners. God bless.